Welcome back to Quincy Bowl TV. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We appreciate you all. I got Baz in the building. He's finally here. We're glad that he's here and healthy. We got K-Mac is in the house. You know him. How y'all doing, gentlemen?
Doing well, thank you.
Wonderful.
Premier League is back.
Wonderful. My weekend is always better when we win.
Thank you so much. Same here. Same here. It almost got even better when I saw Tottenham losing, and I was like, okay. And then this ref decided to put a whole half in addition to the game, because I got a lot to say, especially to 12 Man and K-Mac. Last time we had the show, these guys came at me like foot to the neck because I said something about Spurs and Newcastle. They were like, you were too harsh. Today, that's why I'm wearing all black. Before we continue, guys, please share, subscribe, like. Also, go to these fine gentlemen's channels. They do great work, or wherever they go to, please show up because it's going to be a great show in those channels. All right. 12 Man, welcome back. How you doing?
Good, man. Good. A little tired, but it's all good.
I see
the weekend. You know how it is.
I see the bottles. I see the bottles behind you, man.
Yeah, man. Another story entirely. But in my defense and in K-Mac's defense, I was say Burnley. You comparing Burnley to what was it, K-Mac? Burnley to.
I said Tottenham is the better version.
Yeah, that was it.
I mean,
yeah.
How can we call Swansea the Barcelona of the EPL? But I can't say. And I'm not even going to start because I know it could go left real quick. Because
Quasi, I got to be honest. I forgot what you said because it was so weird and didn't make any sense that I just forgot about it.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you were on like antibiotics or something. Maybe like a fever or something.
Baz slipped you some of his meds or something.
No, I didn't take any of Baz's meds. Baz is not sharing any of his meds. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to Liverpool, a lot of times I see that people say the same thing I said about Spurs. But then Liverpool, the most harsh critics of Liverpool are Liverpool fans. So. So that's what I'm saying. If we're going to be calling people that they are top 6, top 8, whatever, they're big boys now, I'm going to hold you accountable just like any big boy team does. So because I know today a lot of you guys have a lot to say about the match that we had versus Wolves. I mean, if you see the description, the first half, I'd said exactly what Klopp said. WTF. What was that? Right? But, Baz, what will be your quick analysis or summary of the whole match? Just like a quick synopsis.
Quick thing would be a game of two halves, really. First half, we were everywhere, asleep. Second half, we stepped it up, done some changes, and we got the result.
Okay, Mike, what says you, man?
First half, we were probably still back in Anfield. And second half, I think the manager gave them a rollicking. But the manager didn't really help things with his press conference before the game. So I can talk about that anyway. But my synopsis was they were all still back in Anfield. And the second half, they realised they were playing at Wolves away.
They woke up. What says you, 12 Man?
I'm actually now interested to hear what K-Mac's got to say about the press conference, but because I actually do know that I responded to a couple of different reactions to the game and especially to the press conference. So I'm interested to hear what he has to say because I have an opinion as well about that. But I think it was, first half was something where obviously the coach had a plan. It just so happened that what he mentioned in the press conference, I think is important and is something that is relevant. And that is, we have players returning on international play. We're playing another noonday kickoff, you know, and we're trying to use, and, you know, we're putting in a player like McAllister, who was like a couple of hours ago, you know, was thousands of miles away on a plane, you know, with an oxygen mask. You know, those concepts are hard. And then you're basically saying, okay, fly back to England, you know, and now I got to like meet with you and try to evaluate if you're going to be able to play.
Right.
Of course, a lot of the players are going to want to play, regardless of whether they're like, you know, really fit or not fit for it. But it looked like just that. It looked like a team that hadn't been on the training pitch with each other, had been engaging in other activities, you know, obviously international play. And in the beginning of that match, it looked just like that. I understand that Wolves had players themselves that went out on international play. But again, you know, it's a difference when you're sleeping in your own bed, or, you know, or waking up in your own, you know, environment, and another when you're, you know, having to go to another, you know, away game and play a noon game kickoff. And I think it was just a start. They just looked hazy and out of sync. But then once once the team got into the flow of it, and I think that one thing I think was a real big difference is, I got to give props to Elliott, who I think is being is an unsung hero this year. And I have to give total respect, obviously I always do, to Lucho or Luis Diaz coming off the bench. I give it to Darwin, who came and brought energy despite having the muscle fatigue in Uruguay. Look, it was obviously the saying, it's a game of two halves, or whatever you want to call it. You know, it was two different games in one or something, but it was something of where I thought the first half and second half were night and day difference, and the second half showed more of what we're capable of.
Well, mine is, yes, tale of two halves. I'm pretty sure I know exactly what K-Mac is about to jump on, because the comment that Klopp made before the match, and then he made the lineup he brought out. You can't complain and make that lineup. So I'm pretty sure I know where he's coming with. But this is the thing with me with Liverpool. That's why I've always said we are 75%. We're not there yet. We have to remember, a lot of times people don't remember that we lost Bobby. Bobby was the main dude in that team. He's gone. We have a whole new midfield. They're gone. And this is where I said I'm going to be jumping on K-Mac and 12-man is Liverpool team is pretty new. It would take time for them to gel. What they're doing right now is basically, in a way, ahead of schedule, right? So a lot of times, some people tend to measure them at when we were the best, at our peak. We're not there anymore. Those players are gone. We have new players coming in. So a lot of times when I'm watching these matches, I take a step back. But I'll be telling you, I woke up about 10 minutes into the game. So seeing what I was seeing, I was a little frustrated. But eventually I kind of calmed down, and I know what it is. But knowing Liverpool, they will make things hard for themselves, right? The match itself, I mean, first half, it shows that we need more preseason games. It shows that we need preseason games. And one thing that I would say, and I won't even start with that because it'll mess up the flow. So we just gonna jump on into the main thing, right? Lineup. Let's start from the back. Robo, captain, Matip, Gomez, and Kwanzaa. Anybody has objection to what those back for? Because Konate, he just came back from injury, and we know Virgil is
red card.
So in a way, I don't see anything wrong. What says you, K-Mac?
We don't really have many options, do we? Because we got rid of Nat Phillips on loan. For me, I'm still confused why we can't just play Shimikas as a right back. Like, why do we have to do this big shuffle all the time? Like, and put Gomez in a position where he's not been great recently. Like last season, he wasn't great, especially next to Matip. It's an absolute nightmare next to Matip when he plays right back and he plays centre back. And you're also asking him to play inverted, which was just odd. It was just
Gomez,
really
yes.
odd watching it.
That part, he should have switched.
He didn't have a clue. He didn't have a clue what to do.
It. Yeah,
he didn't have a clue what to do. And Matip didn't really help him because Matip was kind of like Bambi still. Like it's really odd because you get two Matips now. You either get a really good, solid defender, that's the one that played next to Virgil van Dijk, or you just get a guy that you are just waiting for a mistake. Like literally, every time he gets near the ball, you're just like, oh God, what are you going to do? Which Matip's going to turn up? And unfortunately, Bozo Matip turned up for that game. Like, I completely put him at fault for the first goal. Like, I had no idea where he was. He was wandering all over the place.
He pressed and got beat.
He was kind of doing what Henderson did last season, where he chased the ball like a 9-year-old child. And you're like, why are you doing that? Just stay away.
Stay, yeah. Just
it was weird. It was like a moth to a light in your house with the ball. I watched him chase it like 3 times, and then it just went past him, and he was gone. He was out of position. Gomez was out of position, and then Paul Quansah had to come over to his position, and he couldn't stop the cross either. And then Robbo got the nutmeg because the ball went through him into the goal, and then Alisson was obviously took the ball into the net with him. But the lineup at the back, I don't know why we can't just play Tsimikas as a right back. Like he's a left back and a right back. Like his stats, he's done both positions. So just play him. Like what does the guy need to do to get a game? Then we haven't got a recognised right back really, because we're having to play a kid as a centre back, which played brilliant by the way. Like Quansah was fantastic. Like he was almost man of the match for me.
Man of the match.
Like I think he was man of the match for me, if I'm honest. Because Robbo had a shocking first half.
So did
but the lineup, like Endo, what does Endo have to do to get a game? If he's not going to get a game against Wolves away when we've got all our players missing. Like, I thought Nunes should have played from the start, but you know, you're not going to play a guy on form, are you? I don't know. Like the first half, substitutes were great. Like he made the right substitutions. Like I'm not going to go into too much detail because other people want to talk about it. But I think the back four probably that's what we had. Midfield maybe shouldn't have played McAllister.
Yeah, we'll get to that part definitely.
If he played at altitude as well, because he played a team at altitude, didn't he?
Yes.
When he was away.
That's
the
part. Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And Jota, Gapco, they scored 4 goals on international duty, so you would have thought they'd have took that form into the game. I know Gapco scored, but you would have thought they took that into the game more. But yeah, I'll let the others talk.
Okay. Baz, what says you, man? The lineup, especially at the back, Robo, Matip, Quansah, and Gomez. Kema is saying maybe he should have given Tsimikas a chance on the right side, or even Endo.
He's played right back.
On the right back or something, because he has played there before. So what says you about that lineup?
Look, I mean, that's the only one little gripe that I had towards the thing. I always believe when you start a season, you always prepare yourself for the best. You give yourself the best opportunity to win games. It's 38 game season in the Premier League, and then obviously cup competitions. If you're weak in a position, then you know what I mean. You go and invest in it. And to be fair, we were quite stretched at defense, so that's probably the only thing that he could have played. To be fair, I thought Quansah did exceptionally well. considering, it was his first Premiership game.
Mm-hmm.
Pressure and stuff like that. He did really well. Matip, I thought Matip did okay. Again, to be fair, it was all we could play. Do you know what I mean? But then there may be a few little questions. I mean, I respect what K-Max says, but I don't know if Tsimikas could do a right back row. I don't know. Maybe he could, but to me, he's just too much left-footed. I don't think he does anything on his right, even like simple passes and stuff. He's just too left-footed for me. So maybe it was a balance thing. I don't know. And then obviously with Gomez, it gives you versatility. So you could play him at centre back, could play him at right back. You know what I mean? I think that's probably what edged it. Mm-hmm. But it was a very stupid decision to play. McAllister in there in the beginning. I mean, I don't know how. I don't think things flight hours and stuff like that. Miles was as high as McAllister, but Endo started in the middle. But yeah, overall, it was a lineup that I expected, to be fair. And I just think quickly on Nunes. Obviously, I think he had a little knock or something like that. That's why he started off the bench. But yeah, I mean, it was a strong lineup anyway. To be honest with you, that kind of lineup, I'd have expected us to beat them anyway, comfortably.
I agree. 12 man.
So yeah, a lot of points. I guess I can bring my own bit of clarity, I guess, to some of the points that were brought up. When it comes to, because this is something I brought up on my on the preview that I did, where I just brought it out there. I said, maybe how would we feel if we saw Tsimikas start, and everyone was like, Robbo's third in line for the captainship, so most likely he'll be the person that ends up getting the start. And then we went even as far as to say, okay, if Robbo does get the start, then why not have why not possibly you try to utilize him in that role that we see, because we're going to have 3 center backs in the back line, basically. Why not try to see if we could do what we did in the preseason, which is utilize Robbo as that inverted on the left side this time, rather than obviously having on the right. And I got shut down left and right by the chat on that idea. But I think that one thing we're obviously coming to understanding is that Klopp likes this inverted halfback role, and obviously he's played. He it's not like I think everyone seems or appears to act like, he just kind of said, you know what, screw it. Let's just see how it works out at game day. I mean, it's obvious that he's played Gomez in the same role that he's had, Trent in during training, because he has to have some bit of confidence that Gomez can even try to utilize or be utilized in that position. Whereas and also when it comes to Endo had international players too as well. I mean, it's not like he didn't play games this weekend as well. So, and I know that McAllister did play in a harsher climate, in the sense of playing in Bolivia, the altitude and all that. But also with this team, it also gets to the point where Klopp has a concept of what he wants to do against different clubs. And we have such versatility on this team that, I'm sorry, I'm watching everyone leave Everton right now. They're about to lose. But if you end up looking at what Klopp believes in his team, is that he can put Endo in that role of a 6. But I'm trying to get people's minds wrapped around the fact that just because we have Fabinho and we had a 6, and a lot of teams utilize a 6, not every team does. And utilizing him, even having 3 8s in the middle, or however you want to look at it, is an option. And against the Wolves, it is a formidable option. I get that you're missing out on that 6 in the middle, that destroyer in the middle, okay? But you're now picking up someone that can create possession, that can also facilitate the ball into dangerous positions for other players, And if you utilize that fact, which is what we all wanted to see him do in that role that's being utilized now by Curtis Jones or whoever's in in that left-sided position. I don't think it's a problem. I really don't think it's a problem. I understand people are like, oh, we're gonna get like Wolves was dangerous, It's not that's just not the situation right now. Because we can outscore pretty much every team. We've only let in one goal we only let one goal in a game just in every the highest goal we've let in. Let me get that right. The highest goal that we've let in, the goal tally that we let in is one goal. If you think that Liverpool can't score more than one goal in a game, then you're kidding yourself. And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't really see this necessary need for a 6. There will be needs sometimes for it, and that's when Endo will play. But for right now, I think we have a concept of just saying, let's be offensive. Let's go forward, and let's try to do the last thing. And then I think the last point I was going to make is I said Gomez, I said Robbo, and Endo. Oh, yeah. Those are 3 points I wanted to make. Just wanted to make sure that we understood those concepts, because I think people sometimes don't want to wrap their head around the fact that we don't necessarily – it's because Endo didn't play. This isn't a knock on Endo, I don't think. Someone of the biggest fans and biggest supporters and defenders, but I just think that it's just a matter of what team are we facing today? You know, what are we going to be looking at? And is it necessary to have, you know, a more defensive-minded structure, or to say we're just going to come and hit you? And that's what happened in the second half.
Yeah, but 12 man. We know exactly what Wolves are going to do. Like, we know how Wolves are going to play. We've watched them play this season. They are going to run at you. They're going to use their wingers. They're going to attack. They're not a team that are just going to sit back and knock the ball around.
But that's not
how they play.
That's even better.
Watch them how they played Man United. I mean, they got beat by Man United at Old Trafford. They absolutely battered them, like, in the middle of the park.
Another factor for me as well is the fact that we had like we had Kwanzaa in defense, and I think we needed an extra bit of a defensive body in this game for me personally. And I've said this a lot of times. I'm going to say it again, and I'll keep saying it constantly. Yeah, I like McAllister. I think he's a great football player, but I do not like seeing him playing in that position. For me, it's a no-go. Yes, I get it. He can play in that role. Yeah, but when I look at him, he's a pit bull on a leash. Yeah, and you know he wants to play football, and his talents are wasted there. He can do a job for sure, absolutely. He's done it at Brighton. You know, he's even played forward at Brighton. But the fact of the matter is, in this particular game, I get what 12th man is saying to a point where, you know, you don't always have to pay the player number 6 in there and stuff like that. But when you look at Jurgen Klopp and how he has played over the years, you know what I mean? This thing, like, for example, 12th man said that he likes this inverted thing. The last few years, he hasn't played that. He's only started playing that only last year when they introduced Trent in it. And then in pre-season, they had Robbo on the left, and Robbo wasn't that great in some of the pre-season games when he was inverted. And there's no way you can even compare someone like Gomez to Trent when he plays in that inverted role. The only thing Gomez has in his power for me is pace. That's it. You know what I mean? His distribution is not a Trent or anything like that. But I think in this game, particularly, I would have wanted to see a defensive midfielder just to make sure those two centre-backs who haven't played together, just, you know, give them a little bit more, like, you know, a bit more protection. That's it personally.
With me, the back line, okay, the whole... Go ahead.
Can I say one thing, though? Mm-hmm. So why I'm bringing this point up and what K-Max said was pertinent and definitely understandable. But then I think that's also sometimes the best way to put it. Sometimes you have to think outside the box, I guess you could say, in a sense. In this essence, Wolves are not going to be a park the bus, sit back type of team, as K-Mac is saying. Great. But what I'm saying is that I'm not scared of Wolves versus even a back line that we had. Okay. I personally, I'm one of Happy Kwanzaa's, biggest defenders again. Most of the team I am, I get that. But, you know, like, I big him up. I think that he's been a real blessing for us this year. Mm-hmm. I think that Matip is, he's a veteran. He understands how he has to play, and he's called on, and he always puts out a good performance, or as much of a good performance as he can. Gomez, again, I think he's playing in the position I would prefer to see him anyway as a right back. Okay, but why I'm bringing up the offensive thing is this, K-Mac, is that if they're going to be going forward and they're going to be pushing forward and they're going to be able to open up play, and you're not going to have to worry about, oh, are we going to need to defend, or are we going to have to sit back because they have too much firepower for us? That would be the time when you do bring in the Endo. That's one of the time when you do put in more emphasis on protecting that back line. However, and I guess even Klopp was not scared of the Wolves' offensive threat. And other than maybe Cunha and Neto, who Neto had a great game, that I will accept and admit. But other than those players, there weren't really that many offensive threats. I mean, I remember in the beginning, even in the first half, where we all said that we got, that we didn't play a good game. We had 64% of the ball in possession. That's a lot of possession. Okay. So it's not like they're controlling the ball. It's not like that we're on the back foot. No, we didn't necessarily have to be.
That's exactly what I just said. But that's what I just said.
I'll end my point.
I said they're not going to knock it around. They're just going to attack you, which is what they did. And they had all the chances. They had all the chances in the first half. They didn't. They had 8
shots. They had 8 shots. We had 5 shots. They had two on target. We had 2 on target.
Yeah. Did you see the shots we had? Seriously.
I'm not saying that we had yeah, I saw the shots we had. And at the end of the first half, we had a really good chance of scoring. It just so happens that we just drove it in. They got blocked. That's all.
No, I mean, I understand. Listen, everything that everybody
was a great save too, by the way. Like that should have been a goal.
Yeah, I understand that. The thing with me, and I think that will segue to the lineup for the midfield. With me, that's why I said, yes, in the beginning, I was more frustrated because the passes, the way we were playing, the back line was very lethargic. It looks like they are not taking it serious because they were feeling themselves from the Aston Villa game, which is something that aesthetically, when you look at Liverpool game, you're like, why are they playing like that? Same thing. This is a longer version of what we did against Bournemouth. Remember that first 15 minutes against Bournemouth? Passes were not properly being stretched apart. Mistakes. It was mistakes. It wasn't even what the other team was doing. It's what we were doing wrong, right? The back, this is the part where I go between left and right. A lot of people make a lot about Liverpool defense, but yet we have the second best defense in the league.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Our defense doesn't look good when you're watching them, but they do very well as a collective. So a lot of times goals that goes against Liverpool is always a mistake somebody did. Just like K-Mac said, Matip, why are you pressing? You are like 10 feet away from the guy. Why are you going to run to press him? Right? Same mistakes last year I used to criticize Robo for. Every time he pressed, boom, the ball goes around him. They use his side, go. Kwanzaa was just amazing for me. Like, especially the second half. He was calm. He was actually, the first half, he was the only one playing well. Even the guys like
Jones. Him and Curtis Jones. First half.
You know what I mean? There was a lot of players that it looked like they were nowhere to be seen. Curtis Jones being one of them, and I think Szoboszlai was one of them. And that was the reason why, is because they had to play a position that they were not supposed to play. Hence why Klopp was losing his mind. Because we were not playing well, they had to shuffle to make sure that, hey, we don't create any more mistakes. So they were out of position themselves, right? But then second half, when everybody calmed down and we started stringing the ball a little bit better, Curtis was just amazing. Szoboszlai, I mean, what else can we say about the guy, right? But moving into the second half, moving to the midfield, the lineup of the midfield, which is Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Curtis, same lineup from Aston Villa. And I understand why K-Mac is ready to unload on the manager, is because the manager complained about us playing that time slot where we have played more than anybody else, which makes no sense for me, right? But then, Mr. Manager, why do you play a guy who just came back from Bolivia? Right? And that game, that especially that first half, it was because McAllister is the puppet master. If everything goes well, it's because of how well he's played. And the fact that he wasn't playing well, we were all over the place. Right? So when he makes a mistakes, we have to cover. And if we don't have the proper players in the right place, it looks like Wolves is about to score a goal. Right? I remember the commentator said the first half, Wolves had 8 chances in our box compared to the second half where I think they had only 3. That is the power club. I think that lineup, if anything, I'm blaming Klopp for that. You shouldn't have started McAllister. You should have brought in Endo. 12-man say Endo also was on international break. But guess what? Endo was in Germany, right? His travel was not that far. I was happy when he rested all the South Americans because that trip is not easy, man. I don't even think they all even had.
I'll check for you, but I think Endo did play a full 90.
Yeah, but Endo wasn't far. He played only 1 game. He was just across the street. He wasn't that far off. The part with me is we have to look at
across the street.
the thing is you have to look at
Endo's games were like training sessions. They were winning 4-0.
You know what I mean?
So when he played Germany,
no, Endo also had the most tackles. He had the most.
He was insane.
He was putting in work for
that's his job, man.
Thomas, can you give him a 45 or 50 minutes?
Well, you didn't
in
get
this game. In this game, I don't.
In this game,
Elliott on.
No, I had
Endo starting. It's not
I would have started Endo.
I had Endo starting for the same reason everyone on the panel has a problem with seeing McAllister start.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that I wouldn't have started Endo per se, just simply because of that. But you also have to keep in mind we're playing 4 games in 9 days. Okay, 4 games in 9 days, and they're not 4 like walkovers. Okay, they're 4 important games. Right. So if that is said, come Europa, if I don't see Endo play in Europa, then yes, then I'll have a concern to say, okay, well, how are we utilizing Endo particularly? Or are we ever going to really need do we even really need a 6 if that's the case, And is he just that, luxury insurance option, for when we do need a 6? And but realistically, 4 games out of 9 days, yeah, in Europa, like on a Thursday, and then you have a weekend game, and then 3 days later, that's going to be that's not easy.
No, but I agree with that. I mean, we all said that was one thing that none of us wanted to go to Europa because of that Thursday game. But the thing is, with me, my frustration with the manager is you can't complain and then play a player who just came back from Bolivia, where we all saw that he was using the oxygen mask.
I think he can.
No, you can, but don't talk about it because the whole game.
Talk about that.
Yeah, the whole game.
What are we doing? He did the same thing when we had 5 when he complained about the subs, and then he doesn't, and then when he gets 5 subs, he doesn't use 5. He didn't use 5 subs, but now he's changed his mentality, and he's doing something different. Where we're seeing more.
But what I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying. He knew. I mean, I was not even frustrated at club because the style, as bad as we were playing, it wasn't all on club. However, there's one player that you should have never started it. That's my thing with the first half. And he knew it. He subbed him in the first half right away. And even McAllister, McAllister didn't even make a fuss about it. He knew it's like, I'm not on it today. Because I'm telling you, Bolivia, there's a reason why they don't play international games in Bolivia. They don't play any Olympics in Bolivia or that. It is 10,000 above sea level in the lowest part of the country. So it's very, very hard. And then you couple it that with the time zone, and then the amount of flight. Even though I know my uncle do send a private jet to pick them up, it's still hard. So that was my thing. But the midfield, if it was any other day, I'm good with it. What says you, Baz?
Yeah, no, I agree. Logically is you're still trying to look after these players irrespectively, you know what I mean? And they're humans, they're not machines. And yeah, they played in Germany. Japan, I still think he could have had a 45 minutes there. Just give McAllister a rest. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
McAllister, yeah, like you said, everything like you said is I agree. He is that dictator. He is that guy that when he plays well, you know what I mean, we're great. But when he doesn't, you saw it yesterday. He came, he played. He wasn't that great. Obviously with his reasons and understandably tired and everything and whatnot. Could have had Endo in that game 45 minutes. Yeah, I mean, when we compare the two and the quality of the game, the environment, the weather, etc., you'd have thought even though a 30-year-old Endo could still do another game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Even being 45 minutes. And that's the only gripe that I have and anything else. And there was one thing that I did that I was a bit surprised with, yeah. But I know people would. I'm not really like deeping it, yeah. But look, we were playing Wolverhampton, yeah. The guys had a whole week's worth of rest, sorting his little affairs out and stuff like that. Why didn't Gravenberch start? Why did he have to start? Like, what is it? Too much of a big game for him to play. You know what I mean? He wasn't playing international. He was buying a card, maybe buying a yard or whatever was going on. But why couldn't he play this game? Do you know what I mean? It would have given us a little bit more options and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know some people, they're like, we got our new signing. Ideally, we want to see him at Anfield and stuff like that. No, we shouldn't be thinking like that. A player is contracted to Liverpool and plays games when he's fit. You know what I mean? And he's selected in terms of like, the tactics or whatever. You play him. And I think he could have got more than 10, 15 minutes or whatever he got. But he was good when he came on. Yeah, he was unlucky to, just like, his little ball control and stuff like that. But he could have scored a goal. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing with the McAllister versus Endo thing for me.
I said you came out.
I agree with Baz as well. I have no idea why Gravenberch didn't get a run out. He could have played Curtis as a DM. He's played him there before. Look, I do want to talk about the press conference. Don't want to leave it to the end, okay? Because it kind of ties into what we're talking about. I understand the argument about the early kickoffs, and I'll give you some stats, okay? We played last season 6 12:30 kickoffs, okay? Most other Premier League teams played 2. Okay, there is an agenda against Liverpool. Like, I don't care what anyone says. There is an agenda against Liverpool. There is no way we should get 16 early kickoffs in Klopp's last 2 years. In Klopp's tenure. 16 early kickoffs we've had. That's double more than any other team. Like, it's just ridiculous. It just really is. Like, I understand that we're a big team and people want to watch us. So give us the late kickoffs then. But we never get the late kickoffs. We just keep on getting 12:30s. Like, I don't give a shit about TNT. Okay? Like, put us on Sky Sports. Like, stop giving us 12:30 kickoffs. So I understand Klopp bringing that up. But my God, he basically gave Wolves their team talk. Because he just literally said, all our players are tired. We're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing this. All the Wolves manager has to do is say, they're all knackered, lads. Look, their manager's telling you how out of form they are. They're all tired. There's your team talk. Go and outrun them for the first half an hour. And guess what happened? They completely outrun us for the first half an hour. Because our players already had in their minds, well, our manager's already making excuses for us. So if we don't play that well, then it's fine. Like, this isn't what a Shankly used to do. A Shankly used to say, oh, their centre-back's got a dodgy knee. Their midfielders just come back from an injury. You know what I mean? Mind games. If you're going to do mind games, do it properly. Like, don't give your team excuses before the game. And the biggest problem out of it all is Klopp's emotions are making him look like this guy that's always making excuses. And the reason why he ended up going on that rant is because he doesn't like the reporter that asked him the question. Because he started off okay, but then he just went on this like 6-minute rant about late kickoffs and we're all hard done by. and all of this crap. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't watch him because of it. Like, just keep your mouth shut. Just keep your mouth shut.
No.
But this midfield thing, like I don't understand why McAllister played when none of the other South Americans played. None of them played from the start. He was the only one. And he's the guy that the referees don't like.
That yellow card made no damn sense.
He got a red card. He got a yellow card in the other game, and he got a yellow card after 6 minutes in this game. Like, that yellow card completely changed the game for him. He's like, I can't touch anyone now. I'm playing DM and I can't tackle people. So that was it. He was out the game. Like, as soon as he got that yellow card,
and he got it early too.
I was just looking at it thinking, there's got to be something going on with referees. Because who did we get on VAR? Paul Turney again. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like we could all sit here and say like, oh, you know, there's a Liverpool agenda, blah blah blah.
But there is.
God, have we got enough proof now? Have we got enough proof? Because we certainly have. Like, that match, 3 yellow cards we got, they got none.
None.
And
you know the ridiculous part is, like, the first game I remember 12 man texted me, say, earlier when I went to bed early so I could wake up early, 4:30 on my side. That's how you have to wake up work. When I woke up, he had already got a yellow card. Even the commentator was like, this is a guy who got a red card. Why is, so I understand that could also affect his game, coupled with tardiness and, all that stuff. But I don't want to go into the ref. I'm not even going to talk about Virgil getting a red card plus 100,000 pounds of fine that basically I'm hoping he will be the precedent for moving forward now. But this ref thing, this is the part where when club complains about the ref are usual, and I'm glad the Sheffield United manager also started talking. Eventually, it's gonna boil it over, right? I understand maybe 12 men might not agree a lot with what K-Max said, and I agree with a little bit, just a little bit. The only time I agree is because he played McAllister. You talked about it, and then you played the guy the reason why you were talking about the situation. And there is an agenda. And again, when we came back from international break, what happened? We played Everton at 4:30. That does not make sense. Manchester United have a game on Tuesday with Bayern Munich, right? Why didn't they play first? We don't have a game until Thursday. But, we stick to the midfield, man. We haven't even talked. This is the annoying part. Go ahead, 12 man.
I just wanted to say that, look, I get that, I watched Craig Burley, and I made a comment too, directly to Steve.
You watch it?
Steve.
I know you have so much patience watching that guy.
Yeah. And because, like, I literally watched Stevie talk about how, McAllister going to Bolivia, it affects the body, is 100%. He utilized even McAllister as the reference. And then he's talking about what Klopp said. And then 2 minutes later, Craig Burley starts going off about, oh, why is he bringing this up? He's so, it's so annoying. And he's doing his anti-Klopp agenda rant. And then as he's doing that, I watch Stevie go, yeah, I don't understand why he's bringing it up.
Yeah,
you just said 2 minutes ago why it was a concern. But second, if anything, Klopp is. I'm gonna give you guys a headline. Klopp is a smart guy, and I can tell you this much: when Klopp brings something out into the universe, I guess, onto the papers, into the into the journalistic sphere, something happens. Some coaches have that kind of power, or at least that kind of influence. He does. And right now, we're all talking about it. We weren't talking about, none of us knew that stat before that conference, before that press conference. None of us did.
I mean, the 12:30 kickoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I researched it.
Right, exactly. So that's my point. The only reason why we even understand the fact that this is BS is because he brought it up. So if we have a problem with, like, him bringing up things that are problems, and then actually getting things to resolve themselves. Because let's not get twisted. Again, I mentioned it earlier. Before, we used to have 3 subs, and everyone in the rest of Europe was playing with 5. Remember?
Yeah.
And Premier League didn't want to do 5 because they didn't want to break tradition or whatever, right? And he complained about it. And then he complained about it enough that eventually, guess what the Premier League did? We now have 5 subs. But he didn't utilize the 5 subs. And it's one of those things where you're just like, what the heck are you doing? But I understand the fact that he wants to at least he wants to point out something that is a concern, is a problem, and is something that he wants to deal with. Whether he takes advantage of it or not, that's on him. I'm not saying he played McAllister just to spite everyone and be like, look, I told you it was going to be this way. I don't think he did that. But I definitely think that the reason why we're talking about it is because he mentioned it.
No, Tobin, I agree with you. With the option one, with the subs, he was complaining, saying, I want to be able to have the option to use as much subs as I want. And that's what I like about it. So whether I use 3 or 4 or 5, that's my option. Rather than I don't have an option, I just have 3. And to be transparent, I need to learn this new rule about when you could make subs, because I have no clue when you could make subs. I have no clue. It's very weird.
How many subs you actually utilize? Like, is how many like?
Yeah, there's a time frame you could make subs. You can't just make it willy-nilly, right? But let's move forward with the front 3.
Yeah. Can I just talk about one more midfielder, by the way?
Yes, please.
Okay, I said it for a number of games now that I'm starting to get Stevie G vibes from Dominic Szoboszlai.
Again?
I really think Klopp's starting to get those vibes because he played him as a DM in the second half.
That's true.
And he was incredible. Like,
when Elliot came in, right?
He can do the job of anybody on that pitch. Like, that guy.
I think he's the buy of the summer. I mean, Szoboszlai, man. Szoboszlai played against who did they play? They played. I know he was in the 2 qualifiers, and he doesn't. The guy has energy. He has so much energy. I mean, I see him as a future captain. I don't care what anybody says. This guy, eventually, he is going to be he's going to be one of the captains. He is, man. But the front 3, I was cool with the front 3. The first half they couldn't do much because the ball was not being passed properly. So Salah for a while, and especially in the first half, Salah was missing. You couldn't even. And I think he was trying to make this happen by coming in the middle or going straight into the middle. Because I think during the match, they were trying a few things and it wasn't working as much because our quarterback wasn't there, which is McAllister, But then the second half, it's like, boom, they just flipped the switch. Baz, the front 3, were you happy with the lineup? I know, K-Mac will always want Nunes to start. But Gakpo is still lethal. He controls the ball. He can calm the ball down a little bit. One thing that I have for him is his release time he needs to work on that, when to pass the ball or when to shoot it.
Yeah. No, I was happy. I was happy with the starting 3. To be fair, when you consider again, we had to manage it because of the international breaks and stuff. Look, Jota came in with form. You know what I mean? He did really get well at for his Portuguese team. Salah did. Salah's Salah, really, isn't he? If he doesn't score, he'll assist. If he doesn't assist, he'll score. Then Gakpo again. You know what I mean? Probably didn't have the best of games, but to be fair, half the team didn't have the best of games in the beginning. And then obviously, he scored his goal before he got subbed. But yeah, generally I'm happy. And when I look at what we've got, I mean, I know I can't remember which one it was, whether it was 12th man or K-Mac said that we'll score more than you, kind of thing. Our front lineup.
That was me. I just put it in that too.
Our front lineup is is probably the best for me in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter who we play, they'll do a job, and they did a job yesterday. All being obviously we had to change maybe tactics later on and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We all score goals definitely, and that lineup was probably the best. Was probably the best option at the time. And yeah, you probably want Nunes to start, but again,
Mm-hmm.
Nunes and international duty, again another South American connection there, and he had a little bit of a knock. I think it was fair that he started off the bench and he did his part.
Yeah, 12-man front three.
Front
The
three.
lineup that he started with.
The front three that started, you mean?
Yeah.
At least the front three that started for us?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have a problem considering that Hata from the weekend found some form. So, because all things considered, if we can facilitate that form into league play, I'm all about it. Okay. If there's anyone that's going to be a great facilitator or possibly, assist merchant for him or allow for him to to be someone that can utilize the press and be able to conduct defensive pressure as well. Hakpo is probably I think the panel would say probably our number one option, right? So if that's the case, then having Hakpo, who again I would like to see get some type of form and some type of runs at the center forward position, I'm for it. Obviously, Salah's sharpied in on the right wing. Okay, so I mean, it's just a matter of those two positions that we're going to be seeing be interchangeable. And again, I think out of all the players that played this weekend, Hata had the best form, and I think that Hakpo played well for Holland. And I also think though that we want to see him be utilized and get into some type of league form. So I really wasn't super concerned about seeing the front three, especially considering I didn't want to see Nunes play, considering they're talking about he had, and again, I'm one other than, I don't know if Redbird's in the chat, but I mean, I don't think there's any other bigger fan of Nunes. So I mean, I didn't want to see him because I didn't want to see him, possibly have the issue that he had with Uruguay. I know Lucho had played some games, and again, that's that South American concept. And I'm not saying that I wanted to see McAllister play. I was surprised and shocked to see him play. I was surprised to see, and I'm surprised to see that, not surprised, but seeing Lucho not start and then see McAllister not start made me say, okay, that's interesting. But you then see what happened in the second half. We were able to bring in Lucho, who brought in incredible energy and intensity. Okay, and for the minutes that he got, they were impactful. Same with Nunes. Nunes, as soon as he got subbed in, impactful minutes. Elliott, again, I know Elliott got incredible minutes or incredible impact by the energy and impact that he utilized, and the fact that, again, I say, if you look at it, Klopp's mindset was, I get that they're going to come at us, or they're not going to sit back in a shell or park the bus, or however you want to reference it. Okay. But also he said that we have more guns. We have more guns. And that's what we did. Rather than we didn't stick in the 4-3-3. We subbed in Lucho for McAllister and went to a 4-2-4 and utilized a front four, which I'm actually intrigued and interested to see, which was having Nunes play next to Salah. That was pretty impressive of a concept to see. And I was like, that's going to possibly work, especially the combination and the form that or the relationship that they're starting to create. It's really, 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 something I would love to see. That's my point.
I was, before K-Mac jump on, I would say with Nunes, we need to stop just having him be sitting in the middle. He does better when he's switching between whether the person is on his left or on his right. Last season when he was on the left and he would cut into the right, he scored goals. Nowadays, when you see when Salah attacks in, which means the defender has to follow Salah, then Nunes go to the other side. Now the other defender has to stretch out. Now they have to force themselves to play a back three. So with me, I mean, Nunes, like one thing that a commentator said that I like was he said, this guy is here to make things happen. And every time he's played, either he scores or he was the reason why somebody got an assist somewhere and then the goal went in. You see what I mean? K-Mike.
I agree with Talkman as well. I think the 4-4-2 in the second half really worked.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nunes runs the channels just really well. Like he just does. Salah wasn't too far wide out of position, so he was more involved in the game, which is obviously why he got 3 assists. You know, the thing about it is, it's like, why do we keep on going back to this inverted every single game from the start? Like we leave ourselves so much to do in every game because we start on the back foot. We start with a disadvantage, playing something which clearly doesn't work. It doesn't work. And then we change it and then we win the game. Like, why not just start a game like that? Like, why do we have to keep on going back to this crap? Because first half, it was absolute garbage. Like, I've got nothing positive to say about the first half, apart from Quansah. But I'm only saying positive stuff about Quansah because he had loads to do. Like, you know what I mean? I should be saying positive stuff about our attack, but we're talking about Quansah because he was a centre back that had loads of work to do because he was covering for Robbo and he was covering for Matip, while Gomez was getting rinsed every single time that Pedro Neto ran at him. Like, Jesus Christ! Like, honestly, like I'm watching it every single game. Like, I'm literally watching it every game, and I'm like, when are we going to learn that what we're winning games on doing is changing the tactics? So just keep those tactics. Stop playing inverted. Like, he can't play inverted, Gomez. Can't. It looks like he's never done it in his life. Like, he was all over the place. Then you got Matip coming out trying to help him, that Def Quansah on his own, and then Robbo doesn't know whether to stick or twist because Robbo attacks all the time when he can. Like, and the forward line, we couldn't play Nunes because he come back from a knock, so that's fair enough. You've got Jota and you've got Gakpo. Jota scored like 2 goals in his last game. Gakpo scored 1 goal in one international and then 1 goal in his other international. Both had fantastic form. Both came into that game and looked like they'd never played with each other before. Like, they looked terrible. Like, I honestly sat there at half time thinking, who's he going to take off? Like, is he going to make 5 subs at half time? But he made 1. And, you know, and then he changed Gakpo when he scored. And that was a bold move. That was a really bold move, taking Gakpo off, especially after he'd scored. Because most managers would have gone, well,
we'll hold it off. Let's hold off a little bit.
Yeah, let's hold off for a bit. But he needed to come off because he'd done nothing in the game. Like, he missed a header, he missed a shot which came across him. He spooned it wide. His header went way over the bar. He looked really poor. He kept on dropping too deep that when the ball came into the box, he wasn't there. Like, I watched the ball go right across the whole face of goal. And Gakpo needed to be in the centre to have a tap in. And Salah was too far wide. And that was the first half. Like, I just watched that and thought, okay, that's pretty much our first half then.
Yeah.
But then the second half, made those subs, made a 4-4-2, put Gomez as a right back, not an inverted. And there you go. Like, Neto didn't touch the ball again. Like, it makes sense. Like, is that what you're going to do every game? Are you literally going to figure out how to play against the opposition during the game? Like, what are you doing before it? Like, we can't keep on doing this. Like, we're going to spend the whole season going away and scraping wins. Like, when we know we are better than that. And we didn't deserve to win 3-1. Like, I don't care what anyone says. We didn't deserve to win 3-1. They had some really big chances that they could have scored in the first half, which would have put the game out of sight. And, okay, yeah, we got Robinson's goal, but that wasn't coming. Like, that was so random.
That's
Like, their goalie miskicked it. Robbo picked it up, crossed it to Salah, passed it to Salah, and then he just carried on running in a straight line. Like, he went past their entire team, and they were like, "What's he doing?" And he scored. Like,
But
Robbo doesn't score.
K-Mac, this is the part. This is the part where I was coming for you, and this will tie into the formation and tactics. I will come for you and 12 men, because, like I said, and this could give us an overall,
But I will take. By the way, I will take a 3-1 win away to Wolves when we got battered 3-0 last season. Okay,
True.
I'll take it all day long.
True. But this is what I'm saying, though. The thing is, the things that Liverpool are doing, people are making it seem like it's by accident. That's the disrespect that I don't like when a lot of people put it on Liverpool. Klopp is saying that, and this is even the commentator say, he said, this guy from now on, he's going to break. This is what the commentator on my side was saying. I don't know about 12 men. He said, Klopp is going to brave it. Klopp is going to brave it. And guess what? He brought 2 attackers in. Right? And then he brought another attacker who plays at midfield, which is Elliott. And guess what? When Elliott came in, boom. Right? The thing that Elliott Wolves was going to do was, we're going to score first and sit back and hit them on a counter attack, because now they're desperate, which is essentially basically what Liverpool did. But guess what? If you guys remember the Aston Villa game, Klopp knew what Emery was going to do. So he said, okay, if you're going to sit back and hit up on me on the counter, especially with that fast dude that you got, I'm going to make the game boring for you. For you now, you have to come at me. And we know Liverpool also is a great counter-attack team, right? I feel like anything that Liverpool do is planned. The problem is we are not doing it as much. So people think that, everything is, we just got lucky. No, Robo, if you watch Robo have a tendency of like to do the 1-2-1-2 pass, and he keeps going all the way forward. He read the game. Look where he was standing and where he got. He didn't just pop over there. He knew exactly what they were doing. And that's why I was a little bit frustrated with Klopp, saying, Klopp, why didn't you flip the inverter the other way? Why? Let Gomez sit, become part of the 3 center backs, and then let Robo do that, because Robo likes to run anyway. So at least you are feeding into his game style. Number 2, the team itself is good. One thing that I'm going to tell everybody, that we are better than anybody in the entire league, including City. We have the fittest players in the league. Second half, 2 of their players went off injured, of muscle injury, because they were chasing the game so much. The problem was Liverpool did not start it early. If we had started it early, this game would have been 5-0. If we, just like we played against Aston Villa, we started very early and we should have scored more than the 3 goals that we scored. Right? This one, the first half was WTF, like what was going on here? And then when they figured, look how fast they figured it out in the second half. And at least we were saying, okay, if we're going to win, it's going to be a 2-1. And then it becomes a 3-1. And then the commentator on my side said, Wolves can't even see the ball anymore. You see what I mean? So that's why I keep it as, I wasn't frustrated. I was frustrated early, but then eventually I calmed down. Then I'm like, Liverpool, we are not there yet. We are at 75. Imagine Liverpool is like a 6th gear or 7th gear car. We always have to get to the 4th or 5th to be able to see the best of Liverpool. And then when we hit 6, then nobody can touch us. What's that? You know what I mean? Yeah, Liverpool, right now we are in 3rd gear. We are not ready. Liverpool needs more games eventually. And this is the people that I'm going to come after them. Already saying, oh, look at all these mistakes. This mistake is going to hurt us later. No. Every team makes a mistake. That is annoying the hell out of me. These people who always they wanna think for the future and just say, see, I told you, even when we were winning, I was saying that this is going to affect us. When Barcelona was playing the best football in the world, they were making a lot of mistakes. They lost 2-0 to Hercules, who had just got promoted. And when Pep was asked, what did Pep say? It's football. Why? You expect Barcelona to win every single game? No, this is football. Eventually, somebody's going to find you out. So a lot of times I feel like Liverpool get disrespected. But now, and this is where I'm coming after 12 man and K-Mac. Liverpool, everybody will tell you Liverpool defense is not good enough. That's why they're not going to win that game. But then when we talk about Chelsea, oh, well, they're not ready. They're young. When we talk about Newcastle, well, they just got their money. Oh, Spurs. Well, the manager is new, blah, blah, blah. No. You give everybody the same heat. If Liverpool is not good enough because of our defense, which we are number 2 in the league, don't tell me Spurs has a good defense or Spurs are doing so much better and we can't criticize it. Same thing with Newcastle. And the funny thing is they both won by luck. I would dare anybody to change my mind.
What I would say about the Spurs thing, to be fair, they're a lot better than what Chelsea are currently. You see, the thing is, their manager, he's not a spectacular manager. No one probably never heard of him. Do you know what I mean? That don't really follow football and stuff like that. They've lost their talisman in obviously Harry Kane and stuff like that. They bought sensibly, and they're doing what Chelsea are trying to do, basically trying to build a team and trying to do their thing. So I mean, like, look, let's not get it twisted. I mean, this is nothing to do with Tottenham or Chelsea here right now. But I agree. You know what I mean? We got to give, people have to be held accountable if they're going to be talking like that. But what I do see is, look, we got to give Wolves credit as well in the beginning, because they came had a game plan. You know what I mean? And they did what they did. We were just better than them towards the end, and then you could see the difference between the two managers. You know what I mean? In terms of experience, they got tired. We made our changes and stuff like that. We won the game comfortably in the end, to be fair. And sorry, K-Mac, I do believe that we deserve that 3-1. We took our better. I think, when you look at Robbo has been there's been a lot of criticism about Robbo, and fairly understandably as well. But, he played well against England in his, obviously, for Scotland and stuff like that, and he took that in. Where we don't often see Robbo run like that anymore. You know what I mean? He's normally disciplined now and back, and and whatever. But he did well. And to be fair, the teams like Tottenham and Chelsea. I mean, I watched Chelsea today playing.
They were poor.
They were absolutely poor.
They were trash.
Yeah. Granted, all right, they had injuries. Some of them, man, they would be saying that Lavia's out, obviously Calcedo's out, But you know what? The fact is, Pochettino's trying to build something over there, but I just don't think they're going to be able to do it. I think that team is a cursed team. It's a real cursed team. You can buy whoever you want to buy, outbid Liverpool, go and just win the transfer market. That's all you're going to do. But you ain't gonna achieve anything if you don't have a heart. That team does not have a heart. It's got the best young players and stuff like that in terms of names, stuff like that. The most logical thing that they were missing was a gunman.
Yeah.
You could argue so many years that's what they've been missing, and they've still not replaced that. So,
and before K-Mac and real quick, before K-Mac and 12 man comes after me, what Bajan is saying is I agree, but the thing that I have to put a caveat, not to disagree what he's saying. It's Klopp is making a lot of. We are talking about formation and tactics. He's making a lot of changes in between games, but people don't see it. At one point, we're playing 4-4-2. At one point, we're playing 4-2-3-1. And every single time he changed the formation, bam, something happens. We score goals. We scored the 3 goals in 3 different formations.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. And I remember the beginning of the season when we were talking about, what do I expect from Jurgen Klopp this year? And I kept saying variation of tactics, different formations, try different things. And at the moment, everyone knows how I feel about Jurgen Klopp. Right? But right now, I'm shutting my mouth because you know what? I'm not someone that's just going to go out and say, we need to get rid of this manager. Right. Because at the moment, he's doing what we're doing. We're getting results from it. People are happy at the moment. Well, nearly everyone's happy. But, at the moment, when, like you said, when you're playing a team, no matter who it is, and you start off with a formation, all right? And then during the game, you do something else. The team are confused. And
Right.
when you got to take advantage, like a team like Wolves, for example. If you do that with someone like Pep Guardiola, he will adjust it at some point. You know what I mean? To combat it and stuff like that. But when you're playing these so-called lower teams, this is exactly what we needed. And you know what? I can't knock him. Barring that one, like that thing that we had discussed earlier on about the McAllister's thing, I can't knock him. He put in the formations. He put in the right players at the right times, and we won.
I agree, and that's my whole gripe with him, with the McAllister. And even you brought Pep in. Pep, I've been doing the same thing with City, but people gonna say, "Oh, we are copying him." Pep yesterday against West Ham, they were struggling, but in between the game, he went from okay, we have to go to a false nine with Haaland, and back to what we were doing with Haaland, and West Ham could not keep up. But if you don't pay attention, you think, "Oh well, it's the regular sum. They pass, and then they take them." No. Liverpool played 3 different formations yesterday. And in the second half, that's why they were so tired. And yes, if we had started like that in the first half, I promise you this game would have been lopsided. And the thing is, go ahead, please.
No, I'm sorry. Please.
I was just going to say, I've said this. I said the Liverpool of Mane, Salah, and Bobby is gone. That sexy, beautiful football, we were slicing teams. Everybody was just petrified of us. It's gone. This is going to be a new Liverpool. It's going to be identical sometimes, and sometimes you'll be like, wow. But it's not going to be as sexy as we used to know it. But we're going to win a lot of games. That one, I'm telling you. Liverpool has figured it. We haven't figured it out yet, but eventually. That's why I agree with what Bajan was saying. We have so many options. The idea is people are only seeing one. And the one that is they're seeing is the one that is not working. Inverted one. The same thing that we were always frustrated with the high line. We were like, man, why are we playing high line? We get hit with a counterattack so many times. Change it. Now he's playing high line. Sometimes he doesn't. I think he yelled at Matip after he got beat like that.
Yeah, we shouldn't be playing high line, to be fair. And look, it's not to say that we can't play it in the future, because sometimes we have played high line. It's been good because you press closer to the opposition's like box and stuff like that by playing high line. But you've also got to have the people that can play that. And at the moment, when I look at the centre backs, for example, maybe not so much now, but if that's something we can invest in next year, you know what I mean? Then, we've got variation. We've got players that can fit systems. And if you've got a manager like Jurgen Klopp who is doing the systems thing, then it's brilliant. You know what I mean? It's a chemistry that all the chemicals are working together. And, you know what I mean? It's going to take time. Like you just said, the days that we were playing a silky football and stuff like that is gone. But if we can churn out results, because this was a churn out result, to be fair, you know what I mean? We didn't expect. We know Pedro Neto is a brilliant player. Unfortunately, the guy's had injuries and stuff like that. But his stats are brilliant. But to be fair, when you look at what Neto done, he's just a winger on smoke. Yesterday he was a winger on smoke, and you could have had maybe Roberto Carlos there playing on the opposite side, or Cafu or whoever, one of these great defenders and stuff like that. That guy would have given them trouble. So like Gomez, I thought handled himself really well.
Besides the no-make, oh my god.
Yeah, he got his knees knocked, to be fair. But to be
when
fair,
did he handle himself really well? He got absolutely rinsed all first half.
Yeah, but what did
he had an absolute shocker.
Yeah, but
who did Gomez?
Gomez
In the first half, yes, but in the second half,
get near Neto.
Yeah, but who are you going to put down? To be honest with you, you put that day, you're right. That guy was just on smoke. You got to give the guy his dues.
Yeah, no, and he put an assist over for Hank. What's his name? Hank.
The Asian striker, the guy
Huang, innit? So he put an assist over for Huang, and he put the ball over for Cunha.
The aim of the game, you know what I mean? And he had a good game for the first half, and after that, that was it. Gomez.
Well, that's because Gomez got support, and he moved back into the right back position and didn't play that.
Yeah,
inverted.
But the fact that he probably did get support and stuff like that. Look, Gomez at the end of the day, I thought did all right. And again, I'm someone that does criticize Gomez. Okay, and for me to say like, he did all right. But on the day, you know what I mean? It's like that guy was on smoke. You could have had anyone there. You could have the best defender in the world right there, and that guy was on it. It's one of those things, man. You know what I mean?
I don't think so. I think it was just tactics. Like, and it's pretty obvious because second half, Neto didn't have anything second half. That's because the tactics changed. It was tactics the reason why they were so good first half. Like,
but if you look at it, but what you're saying about
them, we stood off them, and their players had the run on us. So by the time they got to our defenders, they were at pace. So we had nothing to offer, apart from maybe fouling them, but we couldn't get near him.
I think
the thing about Tottenham, can I just touch on the Tottenham thing? I'm not here to support Tottenham.
That was the guy on your right.
Tottenham are third in the league now. In fact, no, Tottenham are second in the league. Okay, they've got a new manager, got a new goalkeeper, they've got 2 new centre backs, they've got a new left back, a new right. They're still playing the same right back. They've got a new midfielder. Well, he's not new, but he was never played.
Right.
And they've got a new forward, and they're also trying to now replace Kane's goals across the team, and they're also trying to incorporate a Richarlison who's completely garbage into their team.
He can piss off. That's the only way.
And they're winning. They're winning games. Like, give them some credit. They have done a massive, massive rebuild with a brand new manager who's never worked in the Premier League before. Like, I'm sorry, Tottenham need to get it. Tottenham need a little bit of respect, because what he's done is far more than we've done. Far more than what we've done this season.
K-Mac, all I'm saying is show the same love that you're showing to Tottenham to our own manager and to our own club. That's what I would say. As in, he deserves respect. He deserves. I was going to say,
if you could tell me Inverted's working, please give me the stats. Please give me the stats. Because
how many games?
Yeah, we've won games. We've won games. But
when did our undefeated?
We haven't won the game. We haven't won the games playing inverted. We've won the games playing a different formation.
Okay, that's a false. That's false. That's fake news.
I'll come back at you with some big stats. Because I'm going to check myself.
Okay, do that. I would love to see that, because realistically, we do win with when we
16
do.
Games
we have one
unbeaten.
with the inverted system.
16 games unbeaten with inverted the whole game. That's what we just talked about for the last half an hour. The fact that Klopp is changing tactics during the game. He's changing tactics because they're not working. So stop playing them if they don't work.
Okay. So now if we're gonna do that, all right. So we'll pass the niceties now, because now all of a sudden we're gonna go into something, and now you're trying to trigger me. I understand it, because realistically, I just listened to the panel talk about our start. McAllister, I can understand. I'll give you on the McAllister part, but and I can understand that we didn't play the first half well. Understand, hands down, you're right. But the thing about it is, if you listen to the press conference after, when they interviewed the Wolves coach, what did he say? What did he say, K-Mac? What did the Wolves coach say?
I don't know. I didn't listen to the.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly.
Why would I listen to the Wolves coach?
That's why I brought it up.
Why do I want to listen to Wolves?
Well, because I do listen. I want to hear the perspective of both coaches.
They said it was the worst half they've had in God knows how long.
No, that's not what he said. He said basically he knew that they're not. He knew that the club that he was facing, Liverpool, has more weapons. That they're just a better team, and that they outlasted us. Period. As in, they knew what we all understood, or what Klopp understood. The same thing that happened in Tottenham. Okay, is that we have weapons on this team. This is not a sprint. I get that Neto played well for 25, 35, 45 minutes, if you want to call it that. But that is what we all complained about last year when it came to Liverpool. About shooting our load, pause, okay? And and not having the ability to finish the entire 90. That's what we're talking about. So like, I can get what you're saying, but it like, if you were to tell me that, if you were to tell me that us having, I put the stats in the chat for everyone to see so that they could be marked. We talked about a first half that we were like, oh, we're so overplayed and overthink. Their XG was 0.4. Our XG, despite us playing horribly, was 0.6. That's some statistics for you. In the second half, it was night and day difference. It was 0.23 expected goal for Wolves, but we were 1.92. The XG was 0.23 in the second half for Wolves.
Were we losing?
Ours is 1.92 for us.
But were we losing?
What's that? Well,
were
losing
the game.
So we were losing. We're
losing.
Okay,
we were losing the game. Okay,
yeah,
that's my whole point.
Okay, so just because we went down, we can't. What? So we go down.
So
we just throw in the towel.
So were we losing the game against Bournemouth for home?
We were losing at some point of the game.
Were we losing the game of Bournemouth for home?
Were we losing the game at Bournemouth at home?
Yeah, playing inverted. Yeah, we will. We were. Yeah, we were. Of course, we were. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. So two occurrences of us not performing to the exceptions this year at least.
No,
because again,
our run at Aston Villa at home.
Our run started.
Yeah, we were last season. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we were losing at Aston Villa at home, playing inverted as well. Yeah.
Oh, against Aston Villa. Yeah, you're gonna talk about Villa.
I'm talking about games. I'm talking about games where
hey, Matt,
inverted
let me say something, and then if you're gonna say something, I'll respond to it. If we were talking about that, you're going to talk about the Villa. Okay, cool. Villa definitely
were we losing at Newcastle?
Oh my God. K-Man.
Were we losing at Newcastle? I'm only giving you 5 games from this season. Were we losing at Newcastle playing inverted? Were we losing when we were at home to Bournemouth playing inverted? Were we losing against Wolves playing inverted? I'm just giving you this season.
Mm-hmm.
And then did we get rid of inverted and then win the games? Yes, we did. So tell me why we keep on playing inverted if we are losing games playing it. We're not winning games playing it. We're losing games playing the formation.
Let me explain something to you again. K-Mac. Let me explain something to you again.
Just like Quasi said.
K-Mac, if you're going to ask me a question, let me answer the question.
We'd have been 5-0 up.
One at a time, guys. One at a time.
Listen. If you're going to ask me a question, let me answer it.
But you're not answering it
because you're talking.
One at a time, guys.
Stop talking and let me answer the question.
Stay calm, you don't want to hear the truth. Stay calm, guys. Stay calm.
K-Mac, listen. The inverted is an option. It's an angle that we can utilize in the game. We just listen to something. Oh my God, K-Mac, you're talking again. You're going to talk, and I'm done, dude. I'm done. Let me talk.
How are we utilizing it when we're losing with it? We're losing with it.
One at a time.
One at a time, guys.
Tell me we're winning with it, please. But we're not. That's what I'm trying to say. Why do you keep on playing it when it's not working? Because every time we play, we're losing.
Please allow for me to answer the question and stop interrupting, please. I will give you the chance to say what you have to say. You asked me a question, and then you've asked me multiple questions, and I'm trying to deal with them. All right? So let me explain to you something. All right? First off, when you're talking about some of the games against that we were losing, we're also in 10 men for a couple of those games, are we not? Were we at 10 men with Bournemouth? Were we at 10 men with Newcastle? Yes. So of course we're not going to play an inverted system with 10 men. If I got to break it down for you tactically, okay, when did our streak of unbeaten games start? When everyone got what their wish of seeing at least some form of playing in the midfield in this inverted form, okay? This inverted halfback form. That's when our streak started. So what are we doing? What are we doing here? Like, I've been saying last year, everyone talked about how stubborn Klopp is. But yeah, I kept telling you, 1, we don't play a rigid system. 2, we end up adapting and adjusting into this amoeba-style system that we can go from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-2-4 to a 4-3-3. It doesn't come into a rigid system. But yet, No one wants, not no one, but very few people want to say that because they can't wrap their mind around it. Because they're used to having simple things. I get it. But this year, even with the inverted fullback, and even with Trent playing in that inverted fullback position, okay, you act like we've gotten hosed in games. We haven't. We have the ability to transform. We're on some Optimus Prime level stuff here, man. And we are able to do different things on the pitch to take advantage of a team. And again, this is my last point. I'm landing it.
All right.
This is my last point because there was a lot being said and I couldn't get it out there.
Okay.
The last part and point of this is this. A game is not 25 minutes. It's not 35 minutes. It's not even 45 minutes. It's 90 minutes at least. Okay? And what we know with this club is that we have the ability to certainly outlast any opponent, especially when it comes to scoring. And when it comes to scoring, I truthfully don't. I understand we have issues with our defense. Some people have issues with more for defense. I'm more on Quasi's side, saying I don't have a problem with our defense. I think our defense is pretty sufficient, but I don't really even care the fact that we have 1 goal scored on us in the game. It's the reason why we have the statistic that Quasi was just talking about, and the reason why we're undefeated and have the longest winning streak currently going on in the Premier League is because we have offensive power. We have such offensive power, and there's a difference. You notice the difference of when Trent is playing that inverted position. All of a sudden, we have multiple options, and that creates a problem for a team that has to adjust to it. If I know I got to play with maybe them playing a 4-2-4, a 4-3-3, Trent inverted, maybe this player. Maybe Salah playing in the middle, Nunez playing here. But you can't practice for that. You can't even strategize for that. How are you gonna? What part of the week are you gonna strategize and say this is how Liverpool's gonna come out? You don't understand it. So I get it.
I get what you're saying.
I know. I'm sorry, I'm not converted because how many mistakes has Trent made in inverted this season?
Let's move on from this.
How many?
We got a few.
He's played really well. Played really well in one game.
Let's bring the love back. Today, I want to give some serious pause to Salah. Salah, we haven't given much enough love to Salah. I know Savage is in the building and he's trying to get him sold for 200 million. Salah's game has changed, and for some reason, he is morphing into a better. Not just a goal scoring Salah, more into a, assist.
Team player.
Thank you. I call him the community Salah. The 3 passes that he gave was just scrumptious.
That first one.
The Newcastle one was beautiful, but the first one, and then the one he gave to, the one he gave to Robo. I think the one he gave to Robo was
outside of the foot.
Oh my goodness. And we are so used to seeing Salah doing nice things that sometimes even the best of us tends to be like, it's just Salah doing Salah things. So this is the reason why the 220 million was not good enough to sell the man. This is the reason why. And yes, maybe next summer he will move on, but something is telling me that this guy doesn't want to go right now. Maybe not even next year. And I think next year he probably have to come to a fight between the owner and the manager before he leaves, or unless he comes in and says, okay, fine, I want to leave. But there was a question from, I think it was, who was asking was it possible that we, Alexander, the loss.
Oh, bringing in a winger?
Yeah, possibly should we bring another winger to help? Because we saw Gravenberch over there. And I'm going to say this,
right?
Yeah, I'm going to say this. Gravenberch is going to be a problem. Yeah. He's going to be a problem to the league because this guy is a Pogba-esque type of player. If we figure him out and put him in the right place, he's going to cause a lot of trouble for a lot of people. I also want to give flowers to Curtis. Curtis is becoming a much better player than anybody ever thought. And it's giving me, and I always said that Klopp is a Wenger type of man, and I'm seeing that Klopp is turning Curtis like how Wenger turned is it Nabry? No, Nabry, not Nabry. The guy from Nasri. Nasri was a silky smooth player. I remember when Liverpool played against Marseille, and every time he touched the ball, the whole stadium would go crazy until Stephen G gave him a couple of knocks, and then they had to sub him. And I'm starting to get that same vibe that Klopp is changing this guy for much better, because yesterday, yes, in the first half, it looked like he was missing, but Curtis did his thing, especially in the second half. That's why I understand, I think it was K-Mac or Baz who said we could have put Curtis in the DM because he and Szoboszlai kept switching. And I guess at that time, they both were playing the 4-4-2, and eventually they played 4-2-3-1 when Elliott came in. And also another loving Elliott. My man is changing the game. He's going to be the best 12 man in the league. Every time he comes in, you guys were giving love to Lucho and his boy, Nunes. But for 5 games straight, every time this young man have shown up, he has changed the game. Either he score or create something. So this is the thing. That's why I'm saying earlier, and I'm not even going to bring it back. So this is my loving. Baz, who are you giving love to today?
Who am I giving love to today? What, you mean yesterday? For yesterday's game?
Yeah. No, I mean the first 5 games. But yesterday especially, because I say Salah is my main guy. We don't give him that much love because he does it over and over. So sometimes we like just Salah.
Look, for me, the team's a team in it, to be fair, whoever plays. Salah's been great. Szoboszlai's been great. McAllister's been great. Curtis Jones has been great. You know, they've all been great, to be fair. To me, I can't actually pick one.
Oh, Baz, 1 second. People in the chat, if you guys love what people are doing right now, please give us a like, share this video, and tell your friends to subscribe. I love K-Mac. K-Mac does not back down to anybody, so as 12 men. Baz is Switzerland. Sometimes he becomes the United States. So this is entertainment. You're not gonna get anywhere. So please, all we ask is share, subscribe, or tell a friend and a friend and a friend to do it. Baz, I apologize. Please go ahead.
Yeah, not a problem, man. Yeah, to be fair, I'm just happy with the team, man. More particularly, I'm happy with Klopp at the moment. And trust me, just a collector's item, yeah. Clip this and do all what you want. But you know what? When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. All right. But then when I see certain things and they're not implemented, I will question it. Do you know what I mean? Just like any other fan. And we all got everything, you know, all of us in common here. We just want our team to be successful. And, you know, that's all it is, to be fair. But at the moment, I've got to say I'm impressed with Jurgen Klopp of all people, to be fair. And the reason why is because look, we used to talk about the, you know, how he is very protective over his favorite players and stuff like that. One of them booted out, you know what I mean? The other one got booted out as well, got rid of a lot of experience, and said, right, this is what I've got. We'll bring in these players. This is what I'm going to do. You know, he's changed tactics, variation in games and stuff like that, brought in the great players. And we've done well. We've done really well, you know. Yeah, and we're not, you know, we haven't won every single game. We've drawn 1 against Chelsea. But come on, you know, at the end of the day, I think we're doing well. And yeah, I can't really, to be fair, I can't really pick one player. I think they've all done well. If you really had to twist my arm, I'd say Szoboszlai has been brilliant.
That's too easy. That's too easy.
Then you could say the same thing with McAllister. But then my argument with McAllister is you'd see even better with McAllister if you play him a little bit more centrally as opposed to that, you know, that a bit lower.
Bottom. Yeah.
But yeah, that's me.
12 men.
I'm still laughing at some of the chat's comments. Look, I didn't know and also I didn't even know you're referencing me because I should be named Maximus at times. But anyway, I just wanted to say that it's incredible how sometimes people's memories are so short, and
Keep it to the
sometimes
11. Make sure you keep it to the 11.
yeah, I'm keeping it to 11.
Okay.
And this isn't about anyone in chat or on the panel, but it's amazing how sometimes people's memories are so short, and definitely as someone said in the chat though, like it's just, it seems like, okay, I get it. No one wants to be wrong about the things they say. No one wants to feel that their comments are going to be banter or their comments are going to be used against them. But sometimes, like, I understand that people have agendas per se, but realistically, I mean, I just don't see how we can like fault Klopp to extent where, like, you know, some people are still saying Klopp out, you know, and it's just, it's one of those things where I'm just like, you know, I'm sitting here listening to praise about Tottenham and Spurs, and I'm one person that gave them their flowers last week, but I'm not someone that's going to not understand that my club deserves some flowers too. I'm not going to sit here and allow for people to say things that are disparaging and just not, or looking at it from an angle to not understand the fact that this game is very complex and we've done well this year. There's reasons why your statistic about us being second in the league for defense should resonate with someone. There's a reason why when I bring up the XG in the first half where we were quote unquote being outperformed, okay, we still had a higher XG. And then we just completely eviscerated them in the second half because we're just a better team. I don't think that people, I understand that people sometimes want to do that. They're all going to laugh at you concept of, like, you know, maybe, the mother id that is in their brain and yelling at them. But realistically, this club is one of the most talented top to bottom clubs in the league. And at some point at times, I'm at the point where I'm like getting to where I'm like, you know what? If our own fan base wants to do the work of the rivals, or if rivals want to not give us credit, cool. Keep undermining us, or keep like
hurry up. I want
just not
I want to trash Man U, so you guys, yeah.
Yeah, hurry up, man.
Yeah, I want to trash Man U and everything, man.
What was the question?
All I'm saying is give some love to the players. You know, I gave Salah and some to Curtis.
That's what
I'm trying to give the love. I'm giving the love from top to bottom, though, as in, like, okay. Look, so many people were against this coach, calling him, saying he can't rebuild a team, saying he doesn't. So he's not tactically inept. You know, all these different things about this coach, and yet, you know, every time he proves these people wrong, they still twist and move the goalposts to accommodate their own narratives. So that's why I'm trying to get across is that, yeah, I've been showing, if there's anyone that's been showing love to these players, it's myself. At times I've been called out for showing too much love for our players, which I don't even understand, but all the same, like, you know, yeah, you can be critical, you can be constructive, bring constructive criticism. I'm not saying those types of things, but what I am saying is that this club has done has shown some real grit, has shown some real essence of what we praised all the time during our fabulous runs of having that monster mentality. If you can tell me other teams that are going down in these games 1-0 and not conceding more goals, okay, that'd be one thing. But we're not that team. We're not.
Okay, Mike.
I want to give some flowers to Robbo this season. I think Robbo's been brilliant. I didn't think he'd be able to cut it. I really didn't. He was really poor last season, and he wasn't really great in pre-season either. But he's actually played really well this season. But look, the flowers just need to go to Salah again. I'm sorry, because, like, the amount of disruption that's been going on in his life about all of this. Is he going? Is he off to Saudi Arabia? The amount of negativity that he's probably had as well in the press, and also the amount of people from the Middle East that have probably tried to persuade him, and he still managed to be so pivotal to where we are. Look, you've got to kind of boil it down. Look, we wouldn't be in the top 10 if it wasn't for Salah this season, because he's provided assists in all the games and scored goals in games where we have been trailing, or under the cosh, or needed to take a 2-1 win. He's been so important in all of those games. And everyone's just sat there and gone, oh, he doesn't score enough, he's not been that great. Seriously, you need to open your eyes, because this guy is absolutely world class. Like, his statistics are just they're unfathomable. Like, he's now 200 goals assists, same as Steven Gerrard now. He's got more assists than any African player in the Premier League. He's just passed Mahrez by 2. He's almost caught up with De Bruyne. Like, he's a right-sided winger forward that's only just started taking set pieces. Like, let's just get that. let's just understand that he's only started being our main penalty taker. Like, honestly, this guy's just incredible.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
And I'm sorry, but we wouldn't be in the position we were in with having to do all this rebuild if it wasn't for our manager in the first place. And I'll just end it there, okay? Because he's let it get this bad.
Well, he told us to trust him, so he's rebuilding. But now we move on to premature league assessment. This is my favorite, where I could banter some of these useless teams out there. My team, okay, City did their thing. They don't look good, but they still get this thing done. They are very experienced in the league. Pep came in, and you could see a difference when Pep was gone, even though they won when he wasn't there. But Brighton is a problem. And this is the reason why I don't give any excuse to Man U, any other manager. This coach is coaching his players. Man U, all we hear is Glazer this, Glazer that, Glazer this, Glazer that. I'm doing my best not to mention any content creator around there. But they know what the problem is, but it's easier to blame the owners, right? 80 to 90% of Man U fans like the players they bought. But yet they keep saying that the manager has not been backed after spending almost 400 million. Klopp, Pep did not get all the players they wanted, but the players they got, they coached them. Yes, not all of them have been successful, but they've coached the players they got, right? Pep wanted Van Dijk. He couldn't afford him. He wanted Maguire. He couldn't afford him. He wanted Kukuyela, whatever his name is. He couldn't afford him. And he wanted Basmati Rice. He couldn't afford him. But still, look what the manager is doing. Same thing with Klopp. De Zerbi. This guy his players have been sold every single year. He's been there 18 months, and every 6 months he gets a player sold. And look at what he's doing. This is the coach. This is why you have and yes, you could talk them. The buck stopped at the top. So Man U fans, I need you to give all the 20 leagues and the Champions League and all these things that you won under the Glazers, give them their credit. Because if you're going to blame them for all the stuff that is happening in the club, give them their props. There's a reason why Alex Ferguson never talked trash about them. And still, he has never said anything bad about them. Newcastle did better. That was a resilient win that they have. I'll give them that props. Spurs, I want to give them props because they came from behind and won the game. However, 10 minutes though, or should I say 12 minutes? I'm not going to talk too much about that, but I'm just saying I saw the match and Spurs were not that impressive, if anybody watched the match, right? And I believe Savage...
I spoke to Baz in the chat behind the scenes,
Yeah.
And I don't understand it. Like Spurs scored in injury time, and
Of the
then their
injury
goal
time.
celebrations got added on to the
That makes
injury
no
time
sense.
for them
But
to score again.
at the end of the day, you got to play until the whistle blows.
It's madness.
And they won. Ultimately, that's what we're there. You know, you're going to
It
get
was a really good goal as well.
Yeah, you're going to get games where, you know what, you could be so trash. But if you end up winning them at the end of the day, who cares? It's 3 points, isn't it?
Yeah. And I mean, that's why you have to give it to Spurs. That's why I say you have to give them
7 changes from Brighton, by the way. 7 changes. And they still whooped them.
Yeah, but that's Man United. Everyone beats them, mate.
Who said they would take Maguire? Redbird? Who said that? Point them out. Bring the receipts. But but I'm saying, though.
You took my pills that day, man.
Oh, you took pills that day?
That was me as well. I said Maguire as well. Like,
but you see what this is the reason why I'm not too. Right now, there's only one good team, dominant team, and that's City. But Liverpool are coming, and there's a lot of rival fans who are now starting to pay attention, and they understand Liverpool is not ready yet, but there will be a problem. But I posted this on Twitter 2 days ago. I said I think Klopp is about to dominate the league until he leaves. I see it coming, and I believe it because Pep is not going to stay more than his finished contract, and I give Pep maybe 1 or 2 more years. That back surgery, I'm telling you, back surgery is. Our friend here has had a surgery, so he could tell you guys how it feels. And this guy did it in his back. So
he was on the bench. He was on the sidelines against West Ham. Pep was.
That was the first game back. Yeah,
he's back now.
Yeah,
and you know, look. Would do you think Pep would leave for the England job?
Nah.
That's a hell of a job. That really is a job and a half.
It is. I think Pep would rather go to Brazil.
Well, that's where Ancelotti's going.
He said he doesn't want.
Ancelotti
will take that one?
Okay. He's already took it.
Oh, he's already taken it?
I genuinely believe that they could get Pep. I think Pep would really want to do that just to prove a point. True. Because nobody's been able to do it. 1966. 1966.
I can see it happen.
Anyone can get us a World Cup, it would be Pep. It just would.
I can see it happen because they've been getting a lot of
help
calls.
Liverpool.
You know what? He would never take the England job because you know what? I just think he's someone that wants something a bit more exotic. So I think maybe a Brazil or Spain.
Or France.
Spain's gone as well, hasn't it? Spain job's gone as well now.
Yeah, but to be fair, he's still contracted to Man City in it. So, you know, you never know what happens, what's around the corner. But I think Pep will probably do an international one and he'll go. I just don't see him doing the England job, to be fair. It's too corrupted, too political. It's just too much rubbish going on. And I don't think a manager can come in when we had people like your Capellos, your ones that actually had a little bit about them. They still bow down to the FA and only play players who are, you know what I mean, who bring in the revenue or bring in the money, even for England. And I just think Pep's legacy will be tarnished at that. He'll want to do things his way, and England are not prepared to do that. That's why you know Jose Mourinho never became the England manager because he knew.
But Pep's football, Baz, is totally different from all those managers.
No, I get what you're saying.
Pep's football would suit England's attackers.
But I'm not knocking you. Absolutely.
Yeah. No. I mean, I just think Pep could really make it cook. He just could. No one can make England cook.
Yeah. Is that the reason why the Manchester City has been getting all the calls because they want to make Pep happy, so he comes to? That's it. I'm saying it. Yeah, conspiracy theories.
Imagine if all of those rules, you know, they get found guilty for all that.
He's gone.
That's a great way for Pep to just go.
Yeah, he's gone.
That's exactly how the narrative will be. You know what I mean? He will say, like, if ever, I think he did say that, you know, if they got found out, I'll be gone.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he said
he did.
Then that's what's going to happen. But guys, I'm going to run now, yeah?
Oh, man.
But guys,
thank you so much.
Big up, Baz.
Big up, Baz.
Quasi, 12
Yeah.
man. Big up your damn selves. Smash the like, everybody, and make sure you share and subscribe, yeah?
Thank you so much. Yeah, 12 man. So that's what I said. And last time you guys crucified me because I slightly compared Spurs to Burnley, which they both play the same style. Their backside is wide open. They do play sexy game, though. It's just that Spurs is much better than them, right? I mean, you could even equate Brighton to Liverpool. We play almost identical style of play. Almost. The only thing is we don't press like they do. You know, the running. We don't run like we used to anymore. You know what I mean? And that's what Newcastle's doing now. Newcastle is doing now because they run a lot. It looks exciting, but then when you pause and you say, hey, what did you guys do? Then you look at it, you'll be like, they haven't done anything. Arsenal is will be the team that I think is going to be there about with Liverpool and City. But the thing with Arsenal has always been that is their mental strength. So with me,
they score enough goals,
and they don't score enough goals. Yes.
Yeah.
What says you, man?
I think Brighton will finish in the top 5. Like I said this.
Yeah, I know.
Said this. They just work. They really work. Like you make 7 changes, and you are still just firing on all cylinders. Like he had Lallana and Milner in that game.
The game.
Jeez.
You know what I mean? And you know the funny thing is, Man U played just like how Newcastle played us. Where first 15 minutes is all action. It looks like they're going to kill this team. And then when Brighton settled down and came down, they sliced them left and right. And then literally the fans again, sore losers. They can never take a loss. And at 3-0, they all started walking away. You know? Anything you have to say about that, 12 man?
No. I mean, I think Brighton is a quality club. I think that Spurs are a quality club. I think the biggest, gripe I had by comparing Spurs to Burnley is because you're taking a club that's battling relegation and doesn't have nearly the firepower nor the execution that you see Tottenham be able to perform. It is a slight. I mean, I'm sure there's teams that are in the lower half of the table that you could say, oh, well, they remind me of Liverpool, Well, they might like remind you, I guess, of Liverpool in the sense that they're trying to perform what Liverpool does, but they don't have the tools to do it, some of us think we can sing, for instance, but I mean, just because we think we can sing, doesn't make me say you remind me of that artist that sings that song.
Bro, when I'm in the bathroom and in my car,
yeah,
Michael Jackson can't even touch me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm telling you, when I'm in the bathroom or in the car, I'm telling you, I'm the biggest star out there.
I bet.
But at the same time, in my head, and then anybody's listening to it saying, okay, he can sing, he can hit a note, but man, be quiet. You're killing the song. That's what I'm saying. They remind me because Burnley, their game style is pleasing to the eye, right? The way they play is very nice. That's how they beat everybody in the championship. But I do agree. Yes, we can't fully say, and I can see why Spurs fans will feel slighted. But I'm just saying that the defensive tactics that they play, and I like Ange. Ange has changed them. And for some reason, he has got to leave it to buy into him. So the players that they are even bringing in is not the same. Spurs used to bring the same players since Bale left. Same identical style of play. They all look alike. They all play the same way. This guy has brought different style of play. But they have a problem on the backside. So that's the only thing I was going to say. But Chelsea are trash. Miss Jackson, oh my. Did you see that miss this guy made?
No, I didn't.
Oh, he was in front of the goal.
I watched the Everton match. I didn't get a chance. The other match was just too early for me to catch.
Miss Jackson was killing birds.
What I don't get about Chelsea is really all they just needed to sign was Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia from Napoli for like 150 million, and they would literally be back in the top 5. Like just sign some guys that can put the ball in the back of the net and provide an assist, and you got one guy that does that really well for the other guy. Just sign those 2, and they're never injured. Like, it's really not that difficult. Like, you've got loads of other good players around you.
I mean, they'll all look exciting. I don't know how you spend $1 billion. This is how much you could waste money and not even know how you wasted it. They didn't plan. If they had taken their time, they could have gotten great players ready to go, even not at their peak yet. But those players who are about to get there, they could have gotten those guys with less money. But I think Chelsea, it's new, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, if you give the same smoke to Liverpool, I'm going to give you the same smoke. The coach is a good coach, so he should be doing way much better than what he's doing right now. And Bournemouth played very well. Okay, that's cold-blooded. Tito was the man, man. Tito was the man. Don't disrespect Tito, man. But anyway, gents, thank you so much for another blockbuster show. I appreciate you guys. K-Mac, 12-man, Baz is in the building. I'm really happy for the man to be back. The guy has been going through a lot. Those surgeries are painful. Well, we appreciate him. And K-Mac also taking time from family and coming in again. 12-man, as always. I see the bottles behind you, so I know you had a long night. But K-Mac, do you have a show before you leave?
No, I'm not doing anything this week. But what I will say though is nothing but love, 12-man. All right?
Yeah, for sure.
Your opinions, mate.
It's Liverpool, baby.
Liverpool. For sure. Yes. Appreciate you.
We do have a back and forth on here, but we're
it's good. Friends. It's good. It's must see. As you said, it's must see TV.
I'm telling you, that's why these people need to share, put our name out there, man. You guys are going to some shows that don't even give you a third of what we give you guys. If you tell your friends,
it's like Roy Keane and Graham Souness, isn't it?
Yeah. Exactly.
But what I will say is, look, you beat the Dross, you win the league, and if we find a way to beat the Dross, like 2-0, 2-1 in every single game away, I am absolutely fine with that.
Yeah.
Because I know that we can beat the best teams on the day. And we always have a habit of doing that because we've got that bred into us, which is something Arsenal haven't got, which is why they won't win the league. But we need to beat the Dross, and so far, so good. So far, so good. Bournemouth and also Wolves away. Bogey teams that always to nick points off us. And we've got 3 points against both of them. So
we lost 6 points against them.
We did.
Away too, Yeah. But man, what you got coming up, man?
Yeah. I echo the sentiment as in much love to all my Reds, to the Reds in the chat, to K-Mac, obviously to Quasi too as well for having the giving me the opportunity to be on your platform. I also echo the sentiment that K-Mac said, as in, it's important to see us winning these games instead of drawing these games, if not losing these games, which is what, was an issue, which has been somewhat of an issue, even in the seasons that we ended up, missing out on the chat. I mean, on the title by 1 point, at times. So, I mean, that's important that we do that. Again, I stress that we all support each other. I know that we all have differing views. Hopefully we can bring people to the light in some aspects of it. I know, I'm doing my best to build a mighty Red Army that is well equipped and has the weapons and everything to be able to take on sometimes misinformation, fake news, or even the rivals that will come with all of those things against us. So, I always have the best interests, I believe, of our Reds. I always think the most of our Reds, and I want to see the best for our Reds as always. And the Reds are more than just those 11 men on the pitch. It's all of us. So, Appreciate it. Big up to the chat. Big up to the panel. And be sure to continue to support these content creators that are out there, trying to do the best that we can to represent you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, guys. Like I said, you're not going to get this type of show anywhere else. Most of your favorite people, they'll give you a third of what we just gave you right now. And thanks to the chat, Redbird, Stefano, I saw Brian, as always, my man. Brian is always out here supporting us. We appreciate you so much. So many people. I know Ozen is in the building, as always. Rashdi always supporting us. Alexander, Berjan. I'm still waiting my invite, Berjan. I'm still waiting. But anyway, guys, thank you so much. K-Back, 12 Man, Bass, Quincy Bowl, and Bruce.